Good day, everybody. Mark Z here with Night Owl Defense. Hope you all are having a great day and kicking ass at whatever you do. Today we are going to delve into a Taurus PT-1911. This gun we picked up recently, saw it at the store. Both my wife and myself, we handled it. We both liked the feel of it. Had some nice features that I like, one being a 3-dot sight. It's also got a beaver tail on the grip safety, ambidextrous safety, and probably what really sold me on the gun was its impressive crisp trigger. I like that very much. So we went ahead and bought the gun. The salesperson told me to be sure to clean it really well before we took it shooting, because Taurus apparently packs their guns with a fair amount of cosmoline. So we brought it home. I field stripped it. I gave it a good cleaning. We took it out to the range. After about 40 or 50 rounds, however, it failed. And upon a little bit of further investigation, it turns out that it broke the claw on its extractor. Don't know if you can see that. We'll have some close-ups further on in the video. So the solution, of course, is to replace the extractor. I ordered a Series 80 1911 extractor from Brownells. We opted for the Wilson Combat. It arrived a few days later along with a couple of other items, and what we're going to do in the video is tear the gun apart, replace the extractor, and have a functioning and hopefully very fine firearm. See you in a couple as we proceed into the teardown. Hi, welcome back, and now we're going to take a look at what went wrong with our Taurus 1911. One of the first things I want to mention, I had said before that it came with a ambidextrous safety for left and right hand use, and it's got a cutout on the right hand side to allow the safety to work. When I clean my guns, I take the grips off, and the very first thing that happened on this gun is the plastic grip broke right in there. I've subsequently replaced them, and we'll see that on a later video. But back to the failure to eject, failure to extract. As it turns out, upon closer inspection, we can see that the extractor, the claw, sheared, and so there's no claw there to grip the round when the gun's going to extract, hence the failure to extract or eject. At this point we had a couple of options. One's take the gun back to the store where we bought it. They would then ship it off to Taurus, who would put another extractor in and send it back. A couple of weeks later we'll have a gun with a extractor that's apt to break again. Another option would be to ship it directly to Taurus or send Taurus the extractor. In both cases they'd replace it with the very same material. Opted to do something a little bit different. And so what I did was, let's go ahead and take this apart. We decided just to replace the extractor. So I'm going to take this gun and disassemble it. Taurus gives me a nice little tool that saves your fingers when you're pressing down on the guide rod plunger there. This is not soft, it's sharp stuff, and saves my fingers by using that little tool. So now we'll go ahead and disassemble the gun, just field strip it. Set those aside, remove the barrel. Now we'll have a look in here where the extractor is. And for those unfamiliar, it's this piece right here. Okay, so we've got the extractor, and it begins here and runs through the slide frame to here, and this is where the broken claw is. So we've got to get that out. To get at it, we're going to need to remove the firing pin and the firing pin stop. Now on a Series 80 gun, which this happens to be, it's got a little trigger stop in there. we need to depress the firing pin plunger and simultaneously push in the firing pin, release the plunger, slowly release the firing pin, and it should stay put. You can see that it is held in a retracted position. From here we can now remove the firing pin stop, which is this guy right here. Most guns, and I will invert that correctly, should be able to just press on the firing pin stop and it comes right out. This particular gun, however, is extremely tight to a fault, and so I need to use a little bit of extra force. If you do that, do it very carefully. And let's see if I can push it the rest of the way out. Yes. Firing pin stop is out. Now we are going to depress the plunger yet again. So I'm going to push the firing pin in, depress the plunger, let the firing pin out along with its attendant screw. There it comes, or spring, sorry. There it is. Now we can take the slide, invert it, bang it on my hand, and you will see that I got out the plunger and its teeny tiny spring. I'm going to put those in a safe place. Now we'll remove the extractor, and we can again see that there's no claw on it. It just sheared right off, and that's what's supposed to grip the rim of the round. That's not going to work. I bought a new extractor from Brownells. The brand that I bought was Wilson Combat. I actually bought two. One to put in the gun, one to put in my kit for in case it ever happens again. So we're going to put the new Series 80 extractor in there, the Wilson Combat. While I was shopping online, I also bought a new firing pin. Also from Wilson Combat, I happened to get a titanium. And I would suggest while you're buying these things, get a couple more of, this is just an afterthought here, these teeny tiny little plunger springs, because if you lose one, you'll never find it by definition. So let's go ahead and reassemble the gun. Before I do that, since I've gotten it apart, remember I said that the sales guy told me to clean all the cosmoline out? When I first disassembled this with the broken extractor, I looked in the channel and it was gunked up with cosmoline. Whether that had any impact on the failures, I don't know, but it is now my practice to go ahead and clean the extractor channel as well as the firing pin channel. And I'll now do that on every new gun prior to firing as well as on periodic cleanings. So we can now go ahead and reassemble our pistol. Normally I would clean the rest of the gun. I have other videos on the cleaning. Since we're talking about extractors here, I'm going to keep on focus and get this gun put back together as though I had already cleaned it. Pause. So I'm going to insert the extractor, and as I do that, and this is going to be hard to see, but you'll just have to bear with me here. It wants to, as it goes in, it wants to clock a little bit, and so we've got to get it oriented. A little screwdriver here. And twisted just right so that the holes line up, the channel for where the stop is going to go, as well as the hole where the plunger goes. and I just got really lucky. I got it on my second try. You can see a nice flush seating along here. I can look down this channel where the stop's going to go, and it's nice and open, and I've got a good opening for the plunger to go in. Step number one is to get our plunger back and its teeny tiny spring. And I'll take the spring and drop it in there. And make sure that it gets seated and flush. You'll know what I'm talking about when you do this. Then we take the plunger, and it has an open side and a closed side. Open side goes towards the spring. Drop that in. And that will be able to be pressed nicely. Alrighty. So the plunger and the spring are in. Now we'll take the firing pin and its spring and insert them. Now we need to simultaneously push the plunger and the firing pin such that it is a little tricky. There we go, I think. Close, close. That plunger needs to engage the firing pin's détente here to hold it. Press down on that, press in on that, release on that. I'll just do this until I get it and edit it out. There we go. So what we have is the plunger holding the firing pin in its retracted position, so we can now insert the firing pin stop. You may recall that was a little tight to get out. It's equally tight to get in, so I'm going to have to use a little extra force on it. Please do this gently, don't damage your firearm. Get it straight. Too far. You'll notice as you do this, the channels into which the firing pin stop go are defined by the, on one side by the extractor that we just put in, and so it has to be almost perfectly flush so that this stop goes in. And now we're going to put a little force on it. Real close, just a touch more. Good. Now I'm going to put a little pressure on the firing pin and play with the plunger. It's real close. This is probably the finickiest that I've ever had the pleasure to play with. There we go. The end result is that the firing pin protrudes through the firing pin stop, which is locked in place, and the plunger can be easily depressed. The extractor should lay flush out here, and we should be able to see the extractor claw in there. The slide's been reassembled. We're good. Now we'll just put the pistol back together and do a couple of safety checks. Alrighty, so we have our slide reassembled. Again, the plunger is easily pressed down, firing pin extends out. We're good. Since we've put a new extractor in, and this one just happens to work right out of the box. Again, that's a Wilson Combat Series 80 extractor. But we can do a quick little test on it by taking a spent case and sliding it into the slide. And you can see that the claw of the extractor grips in the cutout of the spent case. Are you good there?
Cannot see it.
Okay. Well.
Oh, there, now I can see it.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the claw is gripping as it should. And the test to see whether there's proper tension on the extractor, the test is to invert the slide with the spent case in there and tap it. If it falls out, it's too loose. This doesn't fall out. To get it out, let's just push it. If it doesn't come out, it's too tight. So I didn't need to do any adjustments to the extractor. As a side note, if you need to do an adjustment to it, you remove the extractor about halfway out of its channel and bend it ever so slightly, and that will put more or less tension on the claw. That's called tuning the extractor. This particular Wilson Combat, and I've put one in this gun and one other gun, have fit flawlessly right out of the box. Now, that works. Let's go ahead and reassemble the pistol. See if I can remember how to do this now. So we're going to put the barrel in. Under normal circumstances, I would have cleaned this gun, but since this is for demonstration purposes and we were talking about the extractor, that's as far as we're going to go. So, no need to bore you with cleaning. Do that, and that guy's going to go there, and let's put a barrel bushing on it too. Before we put the guide rod in. Good to be human. And that can come on in a moment. Take that puppy and down. Okay. Now we'll reassemble the pistol. And here's where I can help people avoid the idiot scratch. And I've got a couple anyway. Little bit more right there and in. And we're good. Put the safety on and everything won't slide on you. And there we go. And we have an assembled pistol. Now we're going to do a few safety checks. Alright, welcome back everybody. We got a couple of final safety checks we want to do because we've been tampering with our pistol. We want to make sure that it works and that everything is functioning correctly and operating safely. First thing we want to do is check the safeties on the gun. I have an empty magazine well and an empty gun. First thing we're going to check is the thumb safety. And I do that by getting a good combat grip on the gun, depressing the grip safety. I'm going to leave the thumb safety engaged and pull the trigger. Squeeze the trigger and the hammer should not fall. Next test is to go ahead and disengage the thumb safety and grip the gun in such a fashion so as not to depress the grip safety. Thumb safety is disengaged, grip safety is engaged. Squeeze the trigger. The hammer should not fall. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and put some pressure on the grip safety until I feel it click, and now the hammer should indeed fall. That's good, and where I feel that click is about halfway through the travel of the grip safety. Next thing I want to check is the trigger reset. So I'm going to go ahead and rack the slide, grip the gun in a combat grip, thumb safety is off, grip safety is depressed. I'm going to pull the trigger and hold it. And now I'm going to rack the slide, let it go forward. I have not released the trigger. The hammer came back when we racked the slide. It should stay put. It should not fall. If it does, you have an unsafe gun. Now with the trigger still depressed, I'm going to slowly release it until I hear or feel it click or reset. Now when I pull the trigger again, the hammer should fall. This is good. I'm going to do that one more time. There we go. And there we go. Outstanding. My next safety check on this is going to be to take an empty magazine and insert it in the mag well. I'm going to rack the slide, and the empty mag should cause the slide release to engage so that the gun stays in its slide lock position. That is good. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to take that magazine out and insert a magazine into which I have loaded a couple of dummy rounds, snap caps, whatever you wish to call them. I get them from Brownells, or you can get them at your local gun store. But I have put 2 of those into my magazine. And what I want to do is go ahead and insert the mag. And I'm going to use the slide release to let the slide fall forward, and it should pick up that round. You can do this test with no round in there, but it can damage your gun. I like to use the snap caps. So we're going to go ahead and release the slide. It fell forward into battery, that's good. The hammer did not follow with it, that's good. If we look in our magazine, we'll see we only have 1 round left, which is to say there will be a dummy round in the chamber. So I'm going to go ahead and eject that one. Release the slide again. Now my mag should be empty. Rack the slide. And it should stay in slide lock because of the empty mag. Thus far we have a functioning safe firearm. I'm going to go ahead and take the magazine out for a moment. Put the slide forward, put the safety on because it's a good habit. Now because we just put in a new firing pin and have messed around with the firing mechanism, I want to be sure that that's functioning also, that the firing pin will in fact have enough force to ignite a primer. So we're going to go ahead and rack the slide. Safety is off, grip safety, combat grip, gun is ready to fire, obviously empty mag. And I'm going to insert a unsharpened pencil, putting the eraser side towards the bore, and slowly press the trigger. And the gun should fire the pencil. The firing pin struck the eraser, it should fire the pencil out of the barrel. That tells me that the firing pin is coming in with enough force to actually ignite a primer. So we now have a functioning, reliable Taurus PT-1911 with a newly installed Wilson Combat Series 80 Extractor, and a new Wilson Combat firing pin. And there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. This is Mark Z with Night Owl Defense, and kick some ass at whatever you do.